Hey troops, Roxy here, and welcome to Roxy Plays Games. And today I am doing a video on this little beauty here called Air Hauler 2 for Xplane 11 from Just Flight. So I wasn't quite sure whether to do a review or whether to do a tutorial stroke guide or just a kind of playthrough, and I figured what I'm going to do is I'm kind of combine it all into one. And the reason being is, well, for one, I've been searching for hours and hours and hours trying to find a review stroke guide for Air Hauler 2 for Xplane 11, and I can't seem to find one. It's been out for FSX for I think around about 3 years, and there is a Air Hauler 1 for FSX and also for Xplane 11, but it's changed, it's been updated, and it's a lot better now, and I can't find anything. So I was like, well, hey, I'm going to do something. And the reason being is there's a few people in the community that I game with who are interested in it, and I've been talking about it, putting some screenshots and whatnot in the Discord, but I thought it'd be easier if I kind of put a short video together. I say short, it'll probably go on for a little bit because I do waffle on a bit, so I do apologise for that. But yeah, I thought I'd put a video together and showcase what this is all about, but also going through a setup, how to get it all set up initially, because that can be a little bit daunting when you first launch this and you have got no idea what to do. So that's what this is all about. So as you can see, it's on screen there, from Just Flight. I'll put a link in the description. It is currently on sale at $32.99. I'm sure at some point that will come on offer, you know, 10, 15, 20, maybe 50% off. So keep your eyes open if you can't afford it right now. However, we are going to get ourselves into the game. So it's a really simple process to get this all up and running. Unlike FSE, where you got to have a separate plugin for this and plugin for that and linking it all in, and it's very confusing and sometimes it didn't work. With this, Just Flight have done a fantastic job. You literally download the game once you've purchased it, run the installer, install it onto wherever you're going to install it to, and then launch the game, and you are presented with this. And the first thing we're going to do is create our company. Now you can have multiple companies. As you can see here, I've got 3 already. I've been playing around and testing different things before I wanted to do this main account that I'm going to be doing, to see what does what basically. Now this is one thing I do like, is you can have a test company where you test certain things out to see what it's going to do before you do it in your main company and ruin your main company and end up bankrupt. So I do really like that. What I don't know as yet is, and I'm doing a little test now, if I have AI pilots in this airline that are doing flights, and then I log into this one and start playing, does this one freeze or does it carry on? Because, and it'll come apparent in a second, when you launch the game, it is linked to real time, real date and time. There's no kind of shortened times like a lot of games. It is real time that you're playing and the real date, and it's on Zulu time. As you can see down the bottom here, UTC 24th of May is what it is now, 20 to 11 in the evening. So I'm not sure whether it freezes the game, but then I don't think it will. And the reason why I'm thinking I don't think it will is because you can schedule a time and a date for a flight to go out. So if it freezes, then that's not going to happen, and it'll put everything off. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm kind of thinking that if I've got this running, I can then play this one and that one will still keep going. Anyway, we will find out. I've got pilots going to be doing a job tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. I'm going to start a new company. First thing we need to do is connect it to where our Xplane folder is. So program files, if that's where you have it saved. Click next. We then need to create a company name. This can be changed later on in the settings. So I'm just going to call this one Roxy, can't even speak, Roxy's Tutorial Airlines. Pilot handle, I'm going to have to be Roxy. And my name Roxy. Obviously you can put them for whatever you want, and it says your name. I don't think it needs to, well, it doesn't need to be a real name. I don't know where that actually shows. We'll have a look in a second. Right, this is possibly the most important part of getting your company started, is the initial difficulty. I personally, when I play any game, I want somewhere between medium and hard difficulty, so it gives me a bit of a challenge. I don't like playing on easy, because then if you can finish the game essentially on easy, then it's kind of, oh, I don't want to then have to do it again. I want a bit of a challenge. I don't want it to be too hard that I can't complete it, but at the same time I want that little bit of an element of a challenge there for me. This, on the other hand, is a little bit more complex, in that if you was to go for the hard, as an example, which is Nomad, you start off with 1,000 in the bank, 20% reputation, I'm going to talk about that in a second, and a Cessna 172. If you go for easy, you will have 2.5 million in the bank, 60% reputation, and a King C90. And then the easy packs, you have 2 million in the bank, 60% reputation, and a passenger configured 737. Now, where this is going to be apparent in the hardness is if you wanted to have a fleet of planes and you wanted to have multiple AI pilots flying different routes all around wherever you want to have them going, and maybe cargo runs and doing missions and all that sort of stuff, you're going to have quite a lot of money to do that. Now, if you start off at Nomad, £1,000 is going to get you nothing, absolutely zero. The other thing is the reputation. Now, how this has an impact on the game is the lower your reputation, the less jobs are going to get offered to you, and the jobs that do get offered to you are going to be paying out a low amount of money. The higher reputation, more money coming in and more lucrative jobs offered. Now, the reputation can go up or go down depending on how you perform or how your AI pilots perform. So that can change. So yes, you can increase this, but that's going to be a hell of a grind to get yourself from 20% up to 60%, and also getting yourself the money to then be able to purchase a passenger airliner, especially when all you've got is a 172 that's got 3 passenger seats on, or a small cargo space. So that's going to be grindy as hell if you want to go from Nomad and get yourself to a decent business. But maybe you're that type of person that wants to. I personally would recommend, though, starting off in the career, you start with the same reputation, the same plane, you just got a bit more in the bank, or maybe hard, a little bit more in the bank, and a slightly higher reputation. However, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going for the easy packs, because it's a tutorial. I want to show as much as I can, and I'm not going to be able to do that down the bottom. So I'm going to start off with 2 million in the bank, 60% reputation, so I'm going to have a few more jobs on that are going to be available, and a passenger configured 737. Now here's the second really important part that you may not be aware of. The planes that are here are all stock planes that you have with Xplane 11. The way it works, and if anyone's played FS Economy, you'll understand this. When you fly a plane within the game, within Airhauler 2, you have to actually physically have that game within your Xplane airplane library. So you have to obviously either have the free version of it, or you get a free version from the org store or something like that, or you purchase one from the org store or from Just Flight or something like that. So you have to physically have that that aeroplane, the digital version, obviously not a real one in real life, in your library. And there's a few other little extra bits that I'll come on to later, but you have to have that plane. So if you have the Zebo 737 as an example, and you go for this option, you cannot fly your Zebo plane when you fly Xplane and do a route. You can only fly the stock laminar version. The way around this is you can sell this plane straight away, immediately sell aircraft in exchange for 31,261,392 cash instead. So if we click that, we'll get our initial 2 million, but we'll also get this 31 million in place of this plane. And then what we can then do is we can then add our Zebo plane to our library within this. I'll show you how to do it in a second. Purchase the Zebo version, and then we can fly the Zebo version, and it costs that amount of money. So we're not gaining or losing money, so it's not like a hack or anything like that. We're going to be getting the plane for the same price. It just means that rather than flying the free laminar version, the stock laminar version, we can fly our Zebo version. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. I didn't know this at the start, and I got into this. I launched Xplane, went to do a job, and I couldn't fly my Zebo. I was like, what's going on? That's why. Okay, click on next. Next thing we need to do is choose our starting airport or our base location. So an airport is classed as a base, and you start off with one base. You can buy multiple bases down the line if you've got the money to purchase them and maintain them. What we're going to do is we're actually going to start off in we're going to go for East Midlands, and I shall explain why. As within real life, all the airports have runways, they have runway lengths, and obviously within that you'll be able to land certain planes. If you pick a short runway, plus side of it is it's going to be cheap to maintain and cheap to purchase, but then the negative side of that is you're not going to be able to land or take off big planes from there. So you kind of want something that's not necessarily massive, but somewhere in the middle of the range where you can land your biggest jets that you plan to land there, for now anyway, as well as do any jobs that you need to do. Okay, so we're going to go for East Midlands. I was initially going to go for London City, but what I did find when I was doing my little test with London City is it actually costs more to run than it does with East Midlands. So this is what we're going to go for. So we can see the longest runway, the altitude, it gives you, it says it ILS, it's going to cost us 305,000 to opening costs, and then it's going to cost us 36,600 monthly rental to have this base. So we need that money initially to buy it, and then we need to make sure that we're bringing in at least that amount every month just to keep the base, otherwise it'll go. So I'm going to use selected. It gives us some extra information here. Landing fees. So obviously for the smaller planes it's going to cost you that to land it there, and for the bigger planes it's going to cost you that. And also for refueling, that is our fuel costs. Let's click on next. Okay, so this part here, sliders here, is for cargo jobs. Okay, so the good thing about Air Hauler 2 compared to Air Hauler 1 and FS Economy, those two, it was all about the cargo, and that's all you did. And FS Economy was more focused on the props rather than your big jets. Air Hauler 2, on the other hand, does it both, and some extra jobs, which we'll come on to in a second, or in a few minutes I should say. So our cargo job creation options, first thing we got is our job volume. So this is obviously speaks for itself, how many jobs you want to see. We're going to go all the way up to the top on that one. The distance that you want to be flying, do you want to be flying short distances, or do you want to be doing really long ones? I'm going to leave it in the middle for now. This can all be changed later on, so don't worry too much if you get this all out of place. the size of the cargo that you're carrying, whether you want to carry really heavy loads or you want really light ones. Again, we're going to keep this somewhere around the middle. Internal jobs. Basically, this is whether you want more or less jobs that are going from base to base, your bases that you own. Now obviously this isn't apparent at the moment because we're only going to have one base, so it makes no difference where we put this. But when we purchase our second, third, fourth bases later on, then we obviously want or could want to have jobs that are just going from base to base. I'm just going to leave that there for now. And also the size of the airports that we want to be flying to. I'm going to kind of leave this somewhere around the middle again, a little bit more than the middle. Click next, and that's us all done. So you can see here you'll need to complete a type rating test in your aircraft before you can fly it. I like this little feature. Before you can fly any plane within your company, or if you decide to join a VA, a virtual airline, and fly planes for that virtual airline, you have to do a test, an actual flying test within that plane before you can fly it. And I will do a little video on that one. It's really simple, really simple. Let's click finish. And we are done. So humanitarian aid missions are available. Okay, you have no aircraft in your fleet. Purchase, lease one from the marketplace. Right, so this is our office, as you can see here, and what you have is you have a interactive, you hover the mouse over different things, down the bottom left hand side it will say, so here you got finances, here you got bases, here you got pilots and operations, you got corporate information, jobs map, packs, routes, available missions. Out here you got accepted jobs, you've got fleet. I think that's about it. Yep. Yeah, that's all we got. All of those different areas that you can interact with on here are also available at the top here as well. And we're going to go through these tabs. I'm going to go through as quick as I can, but certain ones I will obviously have to give more information than others. So we've got 5 tabs at the top here. Options speaks for itself, it's all options. You do have a manual here, which I think is kind of cool. So if there's something you're not sure about, you can come in here and click on it. Obviously you've got contents and an index, or you can just search for certain things. So that's really good if you're not sure. Management. This is the first thing that we need to get ourselves into, and this is where we import our aeroplanes to be able to fly. So when you click on aircraft management, it's going to give you a whole list of planes, and this is all of the planes that the Air Hauler 2 has picked up from your library. Now it doesn't pick up every single plane, and what I found is it didn't have the C90, that wasn't in there, the Q400 wasn't in here, the Zebo wasn't in here, and the 767, where is that? 767, there. The 767 wasn't in here, so I had to import those planes into the library. So really simple. Within the aircraft management, you've got import aircraft, delete aircraft, update image if you want to add an image to it, or modify aircraft data. I'm not going to go through all of them. All I'm going to do is go through the import aircraft. Click on that. It takes a few seconds. What it's doing is now looking for your aeroplane library within the Xplane folder, which obviously you've already done at the very start, and here we are. So what you have is a list of all of the planes that this is seeing, but you can also click a path to that particular plane. So if I was to click on browse and then go into the folder, which is here, and I want to find a particular plane that's not on here, so let's say the Epic. Is the Epic up here? I don't think it is it? Don't see it, no. So all you do is you go into the folder for the plane and you want the ACF file. Okay, that's what you're looking for. Okay, ACF. Click on open and then import. And that's gone a bit funny there, that should have been down there. but obviously because I moved that, that's weird how those little buttons are staying in place. Okay, anyway, so click on import. Aircraft imported successfully. We just need to review it, make sure that that's looking all about right. Click OK, and then as you can see, that aircraft now is in my library. So you can do that with all of your planes. If there's any planes on here that you don't want to see because you're never going to use them, like I'm never going to use this B-52, so I can delete aircraft. You can always bring them back in later on if you decide that you've done it, you made a mistake and you want to bring it back in, that's fine. So what I was talking about earlier about importing paid versions, so this is the stock 747. If I was to purchase a 747 from Just Flight as an example, I would then want to import it in here, get rid of this one because I'm never going to fly this one, so there's no point in it even being in here. So then when I purchase the plane within the game, which you'll see in a second, I will then be able to fly my paid version rather than having to fly this version. Okay, so I've already deleted the free version of the 737. I believe when I first imported this, it had 737-800 and then the K in brackets, but then I deleted it and brought it back in again, and now it's saying X, and it's also showing two versions of it, which is exactly the same. It's not a big issue, that's just my little error because I imported it twice and it's showing twice, and I didn't know which one to delete, so I've just left them both there. Right, so that is the next thing you need to do: management, aircraft management, import aircraft, and then either search for the ACF file for that particular plane, or if you know which one it is that you're doing, once it comes up, just take a little while, you can just find it on here, whichever plane that is that you're wanting to use. Let's say I wanted to bring in my Hawk, click on that, click on import, okay, and there's my Hawk. Okay, so that's what you do for that one. The next thing we need to do is purchase a plane and get some AI pilots to start doing some jobs. Before I get into that, we're going to go through the tabs. So starting from the left, cargo jobs and passenger routes. We've got overview map, available jobs, accepted jobs, routes, ad hoc flights, available missions, accepted missions, humanitarian missions, radar, and the forums. When you click on these tabs, it actually puts the tab down here as well, so you can go back to it. So I can go back to my office, I can go back to here, you can click the little X to get rid of it if you want to. If you've got a load of tabs open, rather than click them individually, you can go to this little X on the right hand side and close them all down. Okay, so we're going to go to overview map first. It speaks for itself, it shows you an overview. You can zoom in and out with your scroll mouse. The little blue dot shows you your base, and if you've got multiple bases then obviously you'll have multiple blue dots, but we are currently at the GNX, we've just got the one base. Down the left hand side it will show cargo jobs, pack routes once we create some passenger routes, the commodity stocks. Obviously at the moment there's a crisis going on in EGLL, so we can't do anything with the commodity stocks, so I'll sit there. Missions, there's no missions showing at the moment. Our aircraft that we own, the pilots that we have at this airport, and also any stock that we have at the airports, and any parts that can be purchased from here. So at the moment there's a engine for a 741 costing 1,891,000. So that's sat there. Okay, and obviously we could buy those parts. Yeah, if you're wondering, I'll briefly go over that in a second. You can actually build planes within this game, so that's kind of cool. Right, so that is the overview map. Next we've got available jobs. So this will populate a bunch of jobs, and as I mentioned at the start, when you're creating the difficulty level, the higher the reputation, the more jobs and the higher value jobs will be here. The lower your reputation, the less jobs and the lower the reputation. Also, the jobs that will appear here will be relevant for the planes that you have. So it's not going to show big massive cargo routes carrying 20,000 tons of sheep if all you have is a hand glider. Okay, so that'll all be relevant for what you own, and we'll go through that once we buy our planes. Once you find a job and you click on a job, it will then show up in the accepted jobs, which pretty much just looks like the same screen. Routes, oh, can't do anything with the routes. The routes and the ad hoc flights. So the routes is where you create passenger routes from one airport to the other, and when you do that, it has to either start or finish at your base. So I could do one from Midlands to Scotland, let's say Glasgow as an example, and then back. So you can create that route, but you couldn't go from, let's say, Glasgow to Liverpool. You couldn't create that route because I don't have a base in either of those two places. I would have to purchase a base in Liverpool or purchase a base in Glasgow, and then I would be able to create a route between the two. So that's the only thing with that. So that is for creating passenger routes, and you can then create schedules, which I will go through in a short while, and either you can fly them or your pilots can fly them. And just down here you can see there's a little icon showing your pilot, and then the AI pilots, they will also be shown, and like I said, the base are shown as well, and when you buy planes they are also shown wherever they are. So routes you can fly or your AI can fly. Ad hoc flight is pretty much the same, but you're just creating, as it says, an ad hoc flight. You're just creating a flight there and then, but only you can fly that. You can't schedule it, and you can't have your AI flying that one. Available missions, that will show any available missions, and there's two little tabs here, available missions and clients. So there's a client here called Cayenne Cook at our airport. At the moment, our reputation with him is he's wary of us, 35% reputation. As we do jobs and our reputation increases and we're doing jobs from this location, his reputation will go, or our reputation with him will go up. He will then start to offer us missions, but obviously at the moment the reputation is too low, so nothing's showing here. Humanitarian missions, these basically give you a little bit of a spiel on them, and they're all in different places. Okay, I haven't done any of these, I don't know how these work yet, but I will get to that point and obviously work that out. I'm just going to close these tabs down because we've been to all of them, don't need all them open. Radar, this is a cool little feature. Click on radar and you've got all these blue planes, and these are people that are in the game, in Air Hauler 2, actual real people. So we've got this guy down here, JJ, he's in a Cessna Skyhawk 172, he's at a current altitude of 1,488 and he's got nothing on board at the moment, so he's probably just doing a flight. This guy here, he has got 95 passengers on board. This guy here, he's got nothing on board. It's saying here at the top 52 pilots are flying, and if you scroll out you can see worldwide all these different people. So you've got a guy over here, looks like he's going from Papua New Guinea to Australia. We've got someone up here in Russia, we've got a guy down here just off the coast of Africa, a couple in South America, a bunch over in North America, kind of heading towards Canada, and then a bunch of people in Europe. So that's really good. You do also have a in-game chat, so you click here and then you can chat to people, say hi or whatever. I'll show on there. And then the forums, obviously if you wanted to go to Air Hauler 2 forums, jump in there and then obviously interact if you've got any questions or whatnot within that. So that is all of the things within the cargo jobs and passenger routes, all the different tabs there. The next one is our company information. So first thing we got is bases. So this is where we manage our base, what's going on in there, and also purchase other bases. Now the thing with purchasing bases is when you click here to open base, either you or one of your pilots needs to be at that location. You can't just buy an airport anywhere random and then start flying planes from it. You have to either get yourself there. Let's say we wanted Liverpool, so e.g. GP. I would have to fly myself there from here, or get one of my pilots to fly there. Once they are there, or I am there, I can then come to here, open base, and then open the base there. Okay, obviously that's going to have its own opening cost and monthly rental, which will all be down here, but that's the only way you can open bases. So you physically have to get yourself or one of your pilots to that place before you can have extra bases. So that's kind of a cool idea. And obviously if you wanted to close a base for whatever reason, you can close it, and you can also activate or deactivate it. So if you had a base but you wasn't actually using it, you had no planes there, you wasn't using it, then obviously it might be worthwhile to deactivate it so that you've got no costs getting incurred from having that base. Next we have our fleet. Obviously we've got no fleet at the moment and no pilots. When we click on these, because obviously we haven't purchased anything at the moment, but we will show them in a second. Information. Right, so this is our reputation. So obviously at the moment it's not showing any graphs because we haven't done anything. We're starting off with 60% cargo reputation, 60% packs, 60% for mission, and 60% overall. If I was to do a bunch of cargo jobs and they was good, obviously that would go up and the overall would go up, but these two wouldn't change. And obviously if I was to do a packs, then the same goes, so the packs would go up in the overall but the other two wouldn't. Vice versa, if I do bad, if I crash or if I have hard landings or if I'm delayed and I don't get to the place on time, if I'm doing passenger runs, then the reputation will go down. So it's important we try and keep these as they are or better. And then it shows you a little log of what's going on. Company logo, this is where we can give ourselves a logo. So I'm going to do that right this second. So I'm going to go into screenshots, give myself a logo. See, upload logo you want, and our company identifier. So when we do our passenger flight and it creates a flight number, then we can give ourselves a prefix. So I'm going to call this ROX. So all of my flights will have a prefix of ROX. Say ident. So that's info. Finance, self-explanatory. It shows all the finance details. Don't really need to go into too much detail, and it shows a little pie chart and a graph here of what's going on. We have a ledger so you can see what's been happening, and also a loan if we are going to get ourselves a loan. It does have an ATM, so we can deposit or withdraw funds from our company account in here if I wanted to put money into our personal account, which obviously I'm not going to do just yet. Office, we've already seen that, and personal information is all up here. You can change your name, you can change the name of your company. Within here you got your personal finance. If you own any personal planes, the planes when you purchase them you can have them for yourself or your company. Flight log, airports visited, and any achievements that you have earned. So that is all the information within the company. The next bit is virtual airline. I'm not going to go into the virtual airline because that is something completely separate. This is a separate game on its own, but it's all interlinked. And what I mean by that is you can open up your own virtual airline and invite real people to fly for you, or you can join someone else's base. But then what you can do is once you're part of a VA is you can import your planes from your company. So I can go into company, into my fleet, and any planes I have here I can import them into the VA and then fly within the VA in the planes that you are qualified to fly in. So if the VA doesn't have your plane, then you can bring your own plane and fly in that plane. So that's kind of a cool feature. So I'm not going to go into the virtual airline element. It's really simple. You go into company info and then you get the option to either join or create a virtual airline. factories and construction. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. All I will say is factories, what you can do is you can set up a manufacturing factory where you are producing certain goods, whatever factory, Roxy's factory, obviously be more, what's the word I'm looking for? If I can even spell, factors is what I'm looking for, factors, yeah, not factory, Roxy's factors. This is where you would produce these goods within here, and then you can then transport them to a base, or you can sell them on the market. So that's kind of cool. It does cost you money to open this. And then construction is you can build a factory to actually make planes. So obviously I'm not going to do that because it costs money, but then you can actually import parts, or you can build them within the factory, and then you can build aircraft. Obviously this part of it I don't know too much, because obviously I haven't had the chance to do that yet. Right, now we're going to get into the meat and bones of what you will be doing. So like I say, at the very start you start off with your budget of what you're going to do for your difficulty level. You're going to come into management, you're going to import the aircraft that you have. You're then going to come to marketplace. Okay, so I've shown you all these tabs here and what they represent. You're going to come into marketplace after you've imported the aeroplanes. You're then going to go to crew. And the reason why you're going to do this, well, there's two ways of doing this. You can either fly the plane yourself, or you can hire AI pilots to fly those routes for you, or those jobs. The good thing about this is you can set up some routes, get some jobs in, get some AI pilots, they go and do the jobs, and then you go and do whatever you want. So if you're busy, if you're working, you can be earning money while you're at work, rather than having to physically be at your keyboard playing the game to earn money. So that element of it is really, really cool. Obviously, if you like flying and you want to be flying a lot, then you're going to be flying yourself, but then you can still have your crew doing routes for you. So click on crew, it will then show you a list of all the available pilots. Now it's not showing many at the moment, only these few here, so we've got 6 pilots that are showing. This is random. Every time I've come in here, it's been a random number of pilots and random skill levels of these pilots. Now this is where this turns into more of a tycoon element of a game. It's not just a case of, like with FSC, you get a plane, you find a commodity that you want to go from A to B, and then you go and fly it, and then turn it in and you get money. No. There's a lot more to this. All of these pilots that are here, you can hire. But these pilots, well, one, they have a varied amount of salary, different ranks, different maximum takeoff weights that they're allowed to fly, because obviously they get graded on what type of plane and the maximum weight that they can take off in. They will have a type rating of the planes that they can fly. So looking at this one, who's got all these different planes he can fly, compared to this guy here, can only fly 2 planes. And also, to add to that, they have a little description and a skill tree. So yes, they have a skill tree where when they do flights, they earn experience points, and those experience points can then be used to upgrade a tree to make them better at that particular job. So whether it's maintenance of the plane, so whether because they can refuel the planes themselves, whether if you want to upgrade the cargo ops, so if you've got any planes and pilots that are just doing cargo jobs, you want to do this, passengers, the actual how they fly, and if they're doing any trading. So that element is just really cool. I really like that. It's fantastic. So why this is important, if you're just going to go for some 172s or other smaller props where you only need the one pilot, it's not really relevant, other than just make sure that they can actually fly a particular plane. So this person can't, yeah they can, sorry. So this person can, sure you can, yep you can. I would think that most of them should be able to fly 172, but maybe not. Like this guy, he's got loads, but he can't fly 172. But he can do the 208, which we have. This one can't do a 172. This one can, and this one can't. But he can do the 310, which I have. Right, so that's why it's really important. Because here's another thing, if you're planning on doing big passenger routes with jets, you will require to have minimum of 2 pilots with that qualification. The longer the flight, so if it's under 7 hours, you just need the 2 pilots. If it's over 7 hours, you will then need 3 pilots, and I believe if it's over, I think it's 17 hours, you need 4 pilots. Also, on the flip side of all of this, is they can only fly for up to 8 hours before they then need 16 hours of rest. So depending on the flight length and also how many times you want that plane to be flying back and forth, if you're setting up a schedule, it's going to dictate how many pilots you're going to need to have, and they all have to have that same license or qualification. Sorry, a little bit long-winded, and hopefully it'll become more apparent in a second once I do get some pilots. What we want to do is we want to get a 737, so we can get some big pilots going, big routes going with passengers, and then some big bucks. And then I can get myself a little 310 or something like that and do some cargo routes myself. So it's going to be these guys here. So he can do 74, 76. This guy can do 7474. This guy could do a 73, and this guy can do 73. Now, no, this guy can't. So these 2 people here, senior officer and a junior officer, both can fly the 737-800. So we've got Leo Hunter and Zachary Bird. So what I'm then going to do is within these guys, so I know they can both fly the 737. The prices are significantly, oh not the prices, sorry, the maximum takeoff weight is significantly different. So what I'm going to do is click on view skills. So Leo Hunter has got 4 airmanship, the rest are all blank, and passengers, because that's what we're going to do, is 331. And Zachary, go to view skills, they are all maxed out, and they are all maxed out. In fact, they're all pretty much, so he is maxed out. This guy is a diamond, okay, compared to this guy, who's going to need some training. So, although he's a senior first officer and he's a junior second officer, this guy's actually better. However, he has got a lower maximum takeoff weight, only 500,000 compared to 2 million. So we'll see how that comes. Anyway, regardless of that, we are going to be hiring both of these guys. Leo, we're going to put him in East Midlands, because that's all we have. And he has joined your company, and we've got an achievement, hire a pilot. We're going to go for a Zachary. We're going to hire a pilot. Bosh, done. Cool. Right, so if I now go back to company information and go to pilots and operations, we can see we've got our 2 pilots here. We've got some information down here, so we've got pilot details, log, assigned jobs. Obviously this is all blank at the moment because there's nothing happened to. If we had an extra base, we could get them to travel to that place if we didn't want them here. we can assign points. Oh, this guy has got points to assign, and so is he. Right, so it was Zachary, wasn't it, that hard? No, it wasn't, sorry. So Leo. Right, so although this was all maxed out, once we got them, it's been taken off. So I think what those points, when it's showing maxed out, is that's what he could do up to, rather than that's what he's actually got. So my little mistake there, but we're learning because obviously this is all new. So what I do know is we want to have, you need to put 1 point in. Oh, click on this little arrow here. You need to have 1 point in to then unlock the next one. So we need to do that. We want to have less damage on landing or touchdown, because that's where planes are going to potentially be taking damage. So we want to get that on 2 max. We want to earn more money, so higher PAX flight income. So let's put point in there, and let's get that all the way up. We want to earn more reputation, and that leaves us with 11 points. We're not bothered about cargo, we're not bothered about trading. Slot times relaxed, so let's just put an extra point in there. Aircraft holds together better. Not really sure what that means, but we'll put a point in there anyway. More efficient crews, we'll put a couple of points in there. Now what we want to do is we want to have cheaper fuel, repairs, lower condition before repairs. Right, we're not bothered about that because hopefully we're not going to be getting damage, so we'll put 1 point in there. We want cheaper fuel, we'll max that one out, and we've got 1 point left to spend, so we'll go for the efficient cruise. Bosh, done. So that's him sorted out. Let's go to Zachary and do the same with Zachary. I'm going to be really quick with this. We want that on max. We want lower landing. Oh, I didn't see that one. Maybe we could have put a few extra points in that, but we can always add them. Basically, they earn points for doing flights, and then you can add them in here. Higher PAX flight income. Oh, how many we got? So let's max that one out. We'll put a couple of points in that. A couple of points in there. Lower landing departure fees. Extra point in there. Freewheeling it at the moment. Okay, because I wasn't in 0, there was nothing I could assign, so that's all cool. We've got these little testing. Got our pilots done. We now need to get some planes. We're going to go back to the marketplace. We know that we can purchase a 738 now because we have 2 pilots with that qualification. So we're going to go to our 738. Make sure you pick the right one when you're purchasing this. You haven't got the stock one. So when you import your Zebo, if you are doing that, make sure you've deleted the stock plane out of here. Because once you buy this, if you want to get rid of it, you're going to have to sell it, and you get less obviously if you then sell the plane than what you purchased. So at the very start, you know, we talked about the selling the plane right at the start. That's how much it costs. So we're buying it back, so we haven't made any money, unless we wasn't going to buy it back. We just wanted to buy a load of other planes, but we're going to get that plane back. We're not making or losing any money, but what we can do, and I don't know what's best at this moment in time, however, you can lease the plane. So this buys it outright. Bosh, done, it's yours. If you click on lease, you can actually lease the plane for 3,907,000 with a monthly rental of 1,736,000. So providing we make that amount of money each month, or more than that money each month, then we're going to be in the profit. And then later on down the line, once we've got enough money, we can actually purchase this plane off the lease. Yes, we could go for the 31 million buy outright, but then we've only got that 2 million. Bearing in mind we've bought a base, we're hiring staff, we're going to run out of money pretty quick. 2 million doesn't go very far in the air industry. Whereas if we was to lease this, we then essentially got around about 25 million to play around with. Okay, so we're going to click on yes. Choose a configuration. When you purchase a plane, brand new, you have the choice of making it passenger or cargo. You can change this to the opposite later on if you wish, but then you're going to have to pay to get it changed. We're going to go passenger. We're going to put it in the only base that we have, and lease complete successful. The next thing you need to do with passengers, this obviously wouldn't pop up if it was cargo, but what you can do is choose what class seats you want to have in there, whether you just wanted all economy, economy and premium economy, business premium economy, or first class business premium and economy. So you choose whichever ones you want. Now when you do this, it actually does dictate how many total amount of seats you can have. So you can have 215, 215, 194 or 165. Now obviously with this one you're potentially going to be getting more first class people, obviously paying a higher price. This again is all in test for me, so I don't know what's best, and I haven't found any videos explaining which one is best. I'm just going to go for this one. I do know that the 738 only has two options, either all economy or all economy, part economy and part premium. It doesn't have, in fact it might be economy and business. It doesn't have like 4 options or 3 options, it only has 2. I know one of them's either all economy or economy. I'm talking about real planes obviously, so we're going to go for that one anyway. Click on OK. Now this is where we start doing our licenses, which we're not going to do in this video. You do not have a type rating for this aircraft. Take the type rating test now. We're going to click no. You can click yes, and then it will take you through some options to then go and fly, which I will come on to in a second. Right, so that is how you buy your planes and get your crew. So you got those 2 things there. What you can also do, which I didn't show and I've got no intentions of personally doing, is you can buy planes second hand. So this is very similar to FS Economy in where that when you buy a plane, it will be at a certain airport, you purchase that, and then you then got to get that plane to wherever you want to get it to. Exactly the same for those of you that have played. Planes are in various different conditions, they cost various different prices. Yes, it's going to be cheaper than buying it brand new. The downside is you purchase this, you've got to get it to where you want to get it to. You buy it brand new, it's at your base. So I don't know, work that one out for yourself. Right, so that is a long chunk of this video so far just to get to this point, but obviously there's a lot of information that I didn't know about when I first got into this, and it was very confusing, and I ended up watching a bunch of videos all in different formats, and some of them really old and didn't have a lot of these things up here. The virtual airline is pretty new. I don't know how long exactly it's been out, but I know it's not long, probably 6 months to a year maybe. And some of these things are slightly different with FSX, although they look the same, some of the things within it are different. Anyway, if we go to company information, we now know we have our 2 pilots. You can see them here. So we got Zachary, Leo and me, Roxy, all at EGNX, and if you scroll all the way into the airport, there we go. Okay, so it's quite good. You can actually scroll all the way in and look at the airport. It shows you the taxiways and the runways. Okay, so that's where they are and where I am. Fleet, click on fleet, you can see we have our 738 all the way down here. I believe you can change the colours and the sizes of text. I haven't played around with that just yet, but I believe you can do that. We can end the lease or sell aircraft if we want to, and we can also move it. We can fly it ourselves, we can load and unload cargo if there's any cargo to load or unload. Got some information down the bottom here. Maintenance, this is where we do our repairs and do our hourly checks. within the plane. So that's all here, that's all great. So we have planes, we have pilots, now we need to start earning some money, and this is a final little bit I'm going to go into for this particular video. So we're going to go back to cargo jobs, we are going into routes, because we're going to be creating a commercial flight. We need to click on add sector. This is really simple. Okay, this confused me to hell when I first looked at this, and then once I got my head around it I thought, oh, actually this is really simple. When you click on add sector, it will show you all of the planes that are available for you to start setting up a route. If a plane is either active or it's at a sector already being done, then it won't show. Okay, so we got our one plane, we're going to click on OK. The aircraft will be departing from EGNX. We need to choose a destination airport. So you can either put in the ICA code, or you can type in a name city, whatever. So let's go for, say, Glasgow. EGPF. So we're going to click on that. We're going to click use selected. We're then going to just double check. So we're going from East Midlands to Glasgow. We then need to choose the time of our departure, Zulu time. So for those of you that are on different time zones, it's the time that's down here, UTC is showing. I'm saying this, and as I'm saying this, I'm just hoping that the time zone that you're looking at is UTC as well and not local. Either way, the departure time is Zulu time, not local time. So if you're in America, if you're in different parts of Europe or Australia or New Zealand or wherever, it's not your local time, it's Zulu time. Okay, so let's set up a flight. The time currently is 23:34. Now I don't know whether the time here, well, I'm presuming that I can't set a time for 23:40 and then it's going to work. I'm presuming that there's going to be loading and all that sort of stuff. So I'm actually going to set it for an hour from now. So we're going to go for Monday. Well, that's about an hour, isn't it? 56 minutes. You then need to set the price of your premium economy. Again, I don't know what's right and wrong with this. I've done 0 flights so far. Sorry, I've done 1 flight on one of my test ones. I don't know what's good and what's bad. Obviously the distance is going to be relevant, your reputation is going to be relevant. The higher the reputation, the more you can charge. The lower your reputation, the less you can charge, otherwise people won't get on. So we're going to go for around about 400 and around about 200 on that one. You can charge a cabin service. Obviously the more you put in there, the higher it's going to be. We're just going to leave that on no service for now. And you can see the costing, operating costs here. So we've got 6,200 for fuel, we've got 175 for slots for departure, 584 for arrival fees. The operating direct cost is 7,000. Okay. And it says estimate travellers per day on the route is 215. Obviously we've just got one route at the moment, we're going to be adding some in a second. So we're going to click on add sector. Oh sorry, and as you can see here, if this gets completely filled up, we will make 54,500. Okay, but it does say above is 100% utilization only. Actual income will depend on ticket sales at the time of the flight. So let's click on add sector. So that is our first flight set. We don't have any crew allocated to that, but we're going to do that in a second. You can do that now, but I'm going to show you a little bit of a time saver that I found. We can have our pilots, because we've got 2 pilots for which class as 1 crew. The plane going back and forth, the pilots can only fly for 8 hours a day. So this distance is 212 miles, the duration is 62 miles. So if that was 60 it would have been perfect, but it's 2 miles over. That's a little bit of a bummer, but never mind. Actually, that probably helped with what I'm about to show you. If you right click on here, you can do a few different things. You can add a route before it, you can add a route after it, but what we want to do is we want to go to schedule return sector. It's going to populate with the same details as you did before, but it's going to change the time. You can change this to whatever you want, or you can leave it as it is, and basically what it will do is it will work out from when it lands there, provided it doesn't get delayed here. From there it's going to work out a turnaround time and then get you the next slot after that, so you can literally fly, land, do a turnaround, fly back. Okay, we're going to leave it all as it is, click add sector. So now what we've got is we've got a flight going from EGNX to EGPF, departing at 12:30 Monday morning, arriving in at 1:30 in the morning. It will then depart here at 2:15 in the morning and arrive back at EGNX for 3:17 in the morning. That is a total of 2 hours and 4 minutes. We can then come back to here and we're going to go back, so we're going to do a return to sector again. It's going to be departing at 4 AM and then we want to come back again, and that is going to be leaving at 5:45. So we've now got 4 legs, a little over 4 hours. Okay, for the 2 pilots. Let's assign crew. Says requires 1 crew for this schedule. So basically what that's saying is it needs 2 pilots, which is going to be our 1 crew, and you can obviously put them in there. If I then wanted to do another return schedule, going out there and coming back. Now here's what I learnt. I was adding up this time here and going, oh, that's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Perfect, I can do that. It says you require 2 crews, and I was a little bit confused with this. I was like, well, why is that? The time isn't the actual flying time of your pilots. It's the time from when they depart 8 hours later. So this pilot, or these pilots in this crew, if they're flying at midnight or midnight, they will have to finish their day at 8:30 in the morning. And as you can see, this is 9:15 that they're departing, 10:15 or 17 minutes past 10 that they're arriving. So they definitely can't do that one. Okay, so let's remove sector. Yes. You would think that, oh, okay, that's fine, that's 7:30. It's 2 minutes over. Hence what I was saying about, oh, I wish it was 60. 2 minutes over. If that was 08:30, it would have been perfect. It would have been exactly spot on. So I could have done that. They have 16 hours rest. They could then repeat this the following day. No, unfortunately I can't do this one, because as you can see, requires 2. So we're going to have to get rid of that leg as well. So now I've got this all set up, starting in, what time is it now? So starting in 50 minutes, our first leg's going to go out, and then they're going to do all of those, so they'll fly there, fly back, fly there, fly back. They will automatically do all the refueling themselves because they've got the qualifications to do that, because we added that one within stars. Great, brilliant. Here's another thing that's really good about this. Let's say we wanted to do this again on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Doing that, what we just done, alright, it's not going to take an awfully long time, but it can be a bit time consuming. Let's say you wanted to repeat that for other days. You got a option here. You can either copy that particular sector to another day, or you can copy the whole day to another day. So let's do that. Let's copy to it Tuesday. Let's do it Wednesday. Let's do it every day. These guys don't need a day off, do they? Nah. They're computers. They don't need a day off. Let's click OK. Boom. Let's assign our crew, because they're doing their 8 hours or less than 8 hours and having 16 days, 16 hours rest. Gonna keep that all the same. Boom. If any of that's red, there's a problem somewhere. But that's it. It's done. Monday to Sunday, 4 flights a day, 2 return routes a day, less than 8 hours, 16 hours rest before they do the next thing. 7 days a week. Each particular sector, providing it's fully booked, is going to bring in 50,000. 1, 2, oh, I can see it. I'll give you the flight number. So ROX 1 all the way to, I see what it's done there. So ROX 1, 4, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. Do a quick bit of maths on my calculator. 28 times 54,000 is going to bring us in 1.5 million. Okay, now I can almost guarantee it's not going to be full on everyone, but potential 1.5 million. And obviously we can have a play around with these ticket prices. We can change them as and when we need to if we think it's not going to work. Okay, obviously if we're not filling up, we need to reduce it. If it's completely full, we need to increase the prices until we find a point where it's too much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a really long video, I know, but that's it. That is how you get to the point where which one do we want to do? Overview map. We have little tick boxes here. Draw pack routes. We don't need to draw jobs. We now have our pack route set from EGNX to EGPF. Up and down, up and down, up and down. And if we go to our patch route on this little tab here, we've got 14. I said 8. Did I say more than that before? No, that's right, yeah. That's going through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Perfect, isn't it? How cool is that? Within our cargo jobs, you can see all the different cargo jobs here. Obviously we don't have a plane that can fly that, so if we had a 172 as an example, or a 310, then it would show relevant jobs for that. Obviously these are the quantity, which is in pounds, so 43,157 pounds. That's because we have the 737. Although it's set up for passengers, we could change it for cargo and then do all these cargo runs. Look at the amount of money these are making now. A lot. But these are individual runs, so you do that individual run and then you'd either have to fly back or fly from there to another place. So I know, let's quickly go to marketplace. Let's find a crew that can fly the 310, which is this guy here, Owen. Let's hire him. We're going to put him at East Midlands, because that's all we have. We're going to go to aircraft. We're going to buy ourselves a where are you? Going blind. There you go, 310. We are going to at least, no, we're actually going to buy the plane. Let's buy it out. 527,000. Yes, this is our plane. We're going to put it in the company, not personal. We're going to set it up for cargo. You're going to use selected. Okay. We're not going to fly it just yet. We're then going to go back to company, to cargo jobs and passenger routes. We're going to go to available jobs. You could obviously click on these tabs here that are already there if you wanted to. Now you see all these smaller quantity jobs that are appearing. So we're going to just double check in our fleet we have the C310. It can carry a maximum cargo capacity of 1031. So let's go back to our available cargo jobs. We want anything under 1031. So this one is an example, seafood. It's a distance of 420 nautical miles and it's going to give us 9,400. Going to LFXB. So you can see the red dotted line there. So this one, you can be particular with this and work out a cost per mile and see which is best. I'm going to kind of eyeball it and go this one here. And why am I saying that? It's 128 nautical miles compared to 429, and it's more than half, whereas that is less than half. So I can see, without even getting my calculator out, that the miles, or the price per mile, or cost per mile, income per mile even, is better on this one. So that's what we're going to go for. So this is what you do. You can either accept job, pack it yourself, and then fly it yourself. You can accept the job, pack it yourself, and then let the AI fly it by giving them it. Or you can just click assign to AI, accept the job, put it in the, you want it to go on this plane, okay. You want Owen to fly it, okay. And that's it, done. It does take a little bit of a while, but at some point, like give it maybe 5 or 10 minutes or so. If you click on pilots, here, where it says idle, it will show loading, I believe. Can't quite remember. It says, I think it says loading or packing or something like that. Anyway, it will be loading the cargo into the plane. The plane, as you can see here, at the moment, it's got no one allocated to it, but our pilot will be allocated to that. And then once it starts flying, the plane will actually show on the map. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to come back once the pilot has started, so you can just see here, see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to come back to you in a second. Oh, maybe not. Right, for some reason I can't seem to pause my recording, so I won't be coming back. I'm just going to be calling it there. I think that's probably got most of the information that I wanted to get across. Essentially, start up your company, choose the difficulty level. I definitely recommend the easy packs. It's going to give you the best start in the game. Come to management, aircraft management, pick your plane by going to import aircraft. Import any aircraft that are not showing on here. Get rid of any of the stock planes that you don't intend on flying within the Xplane simulator. If you are flying them, then obviously leave them there. Once you've done that, imported and deleted all the planes so you're happy with what's here, because obviously if you delete all the ones that are not in here, when you then go to the marketplace, they're not going to appear here. It's no point in showing planes that you don't intend on buying. You've got the choice of either purchasing them brand new or you can purchase them second hand. But before you purchase a plane, you want to make sure that you've got the crew to fly it. Click on the crew, check their license to make sure that they've got the license for the particular plane that you're flying. The jets will require a minimum of 2 crew. for anything under 7 hours. If it's 7 hours to 17 hours, you will require 3, and if it's over 17 hours, you will require 4 crew, or 4 pilots for that particular crew. So make sure that you check that before you then go and purchase a plane. And then you come into cargo jobs, routes, create your routes, or available jobs, and set your guys out on a job. You can check on your pilots, see how they're getting on. Currently they're not doing anything. This guy will at some point start loading the plane. It does take, say, 5 to 10 minutes before they will start the loading process, and it does take a little while. In the one that I was looking at earlier when I was doing a little test, it was taking 45 minutes for them to load the plane, but I guess the more cargo, the longer it's going to take. And that is it. That is you set up and rolling. From there it's just a case of doing the jobs, making the money, rolling in, and that's why I would recommend having the root source set up. So this is passive income. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to manage it, unless the plane breaks for whatever reason and can't be flown, or I don't know if the pilots can be ill or anything like that. I don't think so, but providing that's not a case, this is going to keep running. You don't need to do anything, you don't need to manage anything, and every flight you're getting the income. The only thing I will say is what you might need to do is come in here once the flight's finished and just check to see how many people flew on that particular flight, and you may need to come into sector details and just adjust the prices depending on if you've got a full flight or an empty flight. Okay, hopefully that helps. I am going to be bringing out some more videos, kind of tutorial style videos, and once I join a virtual airline, I'm going to show that element of it as well. I'm not going to create one myself. I have on my other company that I'm doing tests on to see how it all works, so that I can provide information, but I'm going to be doing this part as showing you what it would be like if you joined someone else's VA, which is what my intentions are. So anyway, hopefully that helps. And if you got any questions, you want any particular videos done for any particular elements, then let me know, and if I know how to do it, I'll do it. Other than that, I do apologise for such a long video, but there's lots of information to get out there, and there's no videos out there that are giving this information for this Xplane version of Hauler 2. So I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you enjoyed the game if you have got it, or if you're thinking about getting it. And like I say, I'll put all the links to the details for where to get the game from, and also if you want to join our community if you're not already part of it. So thanks again, and have a nice evening.